Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge. It's been quite some time since I've done a mail call, and I've actually gotten several items in the mail over the last couple of weeks, and I never actually presented them as mail calls. I have a few more items that have either just come in or I'm anticipating coming in over the next week or so. And so as those are coming in, I'll get those ready for a future mail call. Excuse me. I also felt that it might be a good time to do a channel update, and not just about the channel, but some things that I've been doing as well in and around the tabletop RPG hobby, as well as the role playing hobby in general. So I just wanted to talk about that. I took the day off from work because I was having some work being done on our kitchen, and the workers came in and couldn't actually do anything because they were like, "Oh no, we're not authorized to do that." So I ended up taking off the day for absolutely no reason. So this is going to be a very busy recording day, and I can really get caught up on a lot of things that I was looking to do anyhow. So hey, it's going to be a day off well spent. I have an interview coming up at 2:30. I'll be appearing on Miguel's channel, the Red Room. So you'll be seeing that hopefully in the next few hours to a couple days. We'll see how that goes. Once again, it's my second appearance as a guest on a show to be interviewed, and I still don't know what to do with those kinds of things. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I was just on Rolling Bones a couple weeks ago, and that was a really interesting experience. So both the channel and myself, as far as my involvement in the hobby, and particularly the OSR sphere of the hobby, is really starting to grow and develop, and I'm really excited about that. So let's see. Let's get to the mail call first. So, as you probably saw, I did a video a couple weeks ago now where I interviewed the RPG pundit, and we spoke a little bit about the Invisible College and some of his future projects coming up. And although I started doing an introduction to the Invisible College, I certainly want to get into a deeper dive. So you will see some videos coming up in the very near future. Um, Next step is going to start taking a look at the magic system that is in here, and that will be very interesting, I think, for many of you if you haven't already picked up the game. You'll get a good insight because he deals with the magic system in here very differently than what you might expect from a tabletop role playing game. And so, really excited about doing that. Now, about 2 weeks ago or so, I picked up Adventurer Conqueror King. I got it for a steal on I got it for a steal on eBay. I think I paid about 20 $29 for it on eBay, and then I picked up the PDF on drive-through for like $10. So all in all, I think I spent total about 40 something dollars, let's say, with the tax included and everything, for something that normally sells for $50. So I saved about $7 to $10 on picking this up. So I'm looking to get into this, especially how it deals with strongholds and such. And this is coming from watching DM James, his channel, and I will certainly, when I do my first look through of this system, I will certainly give him a shout out and even link his channel to it, because I'm not stealing his content. I was so inspired by his reviews of this that I wanted to pick it up myself, and I will give my own unscripted and unchained take on the system as well. So um, thank you, DM James, for turning me on to that. Continuing on, you all know that I got Giant Lands and I started to review it. My first impressions weren't glowing, and that's gonna happen sometimes. That's what's that's what the unscripted and unchained really means, is that you're seeing my reaction as I'm looking at it for the first time in many cases, especially when I couple a box opening with a first look. And the unchained part is the fact that I buy everything that I get, and no one sends me free copies of anything. Or if I have purchased their hardcover, I might ask them if they're going to come on the show if I can have a PDF so that we can go over it and talk about it, and I can do a full preview of it. But I never get anything directly for free from any company. And so that gives me the freedom to say, hey, I really don't like this that much. And I'm not worried about them not sending me something else because they didn't send me this to begin with. So they're going to get a fair and unscripted and unchained impression of what I got from their game. And they're welcome to come on and say, hey, you know what? Take a better look at this, or this is what we intended, and can you see that? And I have no problem with doing that. Or they can come out and say, hey, we think you're wrong on this. Look, this is the way you should have read it, and hey, that's great too. Yeah, so not always going to give it, something really, really glowing if it's not going to be something that I'm super happy with. So that's just the way it is. I also got, and as I did the box opening, I did pick up the One Ring. I'm using the smaller book just to save space on my desk here. The One Ring, and I am going to start going through and talking about the dice mechanics in this, because there was a request on the channel that I do start taking a look at the dice mechanics. And as I was flipping through this and going through, the starter set of the book, I realized that there's no magic in here, or at least I haven't picked up on it yet. I have to dig through the main book as well, but I don't think there's any magic in it, and that actually makes sense for the Lord of the Rings, because there were maybe like 6 or 7 magic users in all of the world, and they were all essentially godlings of some level or another. So so it makes a lot of sense, and so going to dig into this a little bit deeper. I also got my copy from a Kickstarter of Merchant of the Dark Road. Now this is a traditional board game, right? So it's a tabletop board game, obviously, and the reason why I backed this was not only did it look like it was really cool. It wasn't super expensive. I mean, I have to go back over and take a look at it. But it was probably somewhere between $60 and $80. So I was like, all right, that's not too bad. But what I really liked about it was the versatility of it. It's for players 1 through 4. And so at the time I was thinking about, looking at things that are solo play. I was really looking at role-playing games that were solo play, but I started looking at some board games that were solo play as well. And when I came across this, I was like, you know what, I'm going to back it and take a look at it. So I'm going to do the box opening for this probably over the weekend and just go through some of the stuff and give you my first impressions of that. So that is the mail call portion of the of this video. So the next step now is to start doing the channel update. So channel update is that, as I mentioned previously, the channel is over 1,800 subscribers. I believe it's around 1870-ish. So really doing well. And I had hit that 1,800 around Christmas, so I was excited about that. Hit it at the goal, so I hit it in time for the anniversary of the channel, within that day, I believe. and so it was kind of unexpected. I was hoping to get there, um, and I knew that that was kind of an internal, in my own head and heart, desire to get to 1800. And now it's looking like 2000 is going to be very, very close to a possibility by the end of March. So for April 1st, my birthday is March 31st, so I'm looking forward to hitting that 2000 mark by my birthday, which would be awesome. And that would still be ahead of where I was expecting to be anyway by several months. So really excited about the growth of the channel. And I think a lot of that growth has a lot to do with the fact that I have been bringing more guests onto the channel. The live streams have been doing really well, and that's why I'm dedicating more time to live streams. And as I said, I'm going to do more and more with bringing OSR uh, content creators and game developers onto the channel, and bringing my own gaming group onto the channel as well. And that's what we're doing tomorrow night during a live stream. Is I've been doing our session recaps on a fairly weekly basis, although the last 2 weeks didn't get around to doing it. So I'm combining up a recap along with a live stream to introduce you to my players. Because I have a great group of players, 9 players in the group, and hopefully all of them can come tomorrow. But I think maybe 1 or 2 might not be able to make it. And it's a really interesting group of people, and I'm anxious and or excited, I should say, excited about bringing them, to you, and allowing you to ask them questions, not just about the campaign, but also about, their impressions of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition, because for some of them it's the first time they're playing it. For others, I mean, they've played it before in the past, but it's been a long time since then, and at least one individual was a TSR a TSR employee during that time frame. So from 1982 to 1986 or 87, he was with TSR, working for TSR, working, I believe, mostly on Oriental Adventures, but other things as well. So I love for him to have the opportunity to talk to you and have you ask him questions and such. So really excited about that as well. And hopefully you get a chance to talk to you know our 2 female members of the group. Leah's been there for a long time, almost the full 6 months that we've been together, and Amanda's coming on, and hopefully they can both make it, and they can talk. Hopefully, give you that that perspective, that female perspective of the old school OSR, since there seems to be still some belief that there's just not that much representation, or they have a harder time with it. So to debunk some of those ideas that that Mike Merles had said, oh, first edition is difficult for women to grasp, but I haven't seen that at all. And and then the idea that it's not an inclusive, OSR tables in general not inclusive, which is ridiculous. And so I just wanted to give the opportunity for my group to talk about our gaming, and for you to be able to ask the group questions about, just in general, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or you know being involved in a long running campaign. And so those are things that I really want to get out there. As far as other channel news is concerned, so as I stated already, I should say I have been looking to just push this idea of the OSR, and not just put a positive spin on it, because I think that there is, a great number of positives surrounding the OSR, but also just to get it out there, because there seems to be, um, it seems to be harder to get it to shine more, possibly because there's so much of it out there, and so people kind of get confused, or they just don't know where to pick up the OSR from, to start off with, and quite frankly, it gets overshadowed by the bigger game companies and the bigger game titles that in many cases are just, they're just not better than what we can find in the OSR. So that's another thing that I'm looking to focus on, is to just keep on getting the word out for, old school role playing games that are out there. And another thing I want to debunk is that excuse the alarm here. I'm getting an oil delivery and my cameras are going off. Um, the other thing I want to get out there or debunk is that the OSR is just Dungeons and Dragons. It's not just Dungeons and Dragons. There are many older games out there that are still being played by many people, and some of them are really well known titles. Like Call of Cthulhu is part of the OSR. I mean, Call of Cthulhu came out in the early 1980s. You have Tunnels and Trolls, which is still a fantasy, but let's just stick to the non-fantasy OSR games out there. You have various, you have newer versions, or versions that were inspired by Star Frontiers. Many people are still playing Star Frontiers, and then you have Frontier Space, which is a homage to Star Frontiers. If Star Frontiers was relaunched, Frontier Space would be an example of it. Um, and then there's just many, many other, you could hit other genres as well. Cyberpunk has been around for 30 years, or more. So you have all of these other examples: Bushido, Twilight 2000. You have various, superhero games that go back to them. So Heroes Unlimited, or Champions, or Villains and Vigilantes, and such. There are so many games out there that are old school games that are not D&D or not fantasy role playing games. Um, Gamma World is another one that's it's I came across a channel that is focused just on Gamma World. Some great work is being done around gangbusters. All right, so just know that within the OSR, you're going to find all of this diversity. You're going to find all of these these different genres and different games that you can get into, and they run the full gambit of entry level, very simple, basic, stripped down versions of games, and run to super complex and challenging games as well. So looking forward to just keep on bringing that out on this channel to you, so that you can all develop a great appreciation for it. And then finally, just to close this out, as always, I thank my viewers, I thank my subscribers, I thank the people that come in and they ask questions, or they give me suggestions. Hey, take a look at this. Um, the videos have been doing well. I've gotten into a few debates and controversies here and there, but I try not to focus too much on that. Um, but some of those debates have been really popular videos, as far as catching views and bringing people on, and and having heated debates in some cases, and so I welcome that as well. I also have not hit on any role playing games that are computer role playing games in quite some time. And that's something that I want to get back to doing a little bit more of, is to bring out some computer RPGs. And I just got this, super powerful gaming computer, and so one of the first things I wanted to dig into was Skyrim. The original, unmodified Skyrim, and I'll probably do a few little game sessions with that, and just show, really just showing off the level of the graphics that you can still push out of an older game like that, and and just some of the gameplay of it. It's a good way for me to kind of unwind and spend a little time and doing these little snippets of a character. Um, I will kind of limit that to certain ways of basically saying that I will play I'll play a character, and if the character should die, the that's when that game session will end. And maybe I'll pick up with a new character or whatever, but I'm going to try to simulate the experience that you would have if this were a tabletop role playing game and your character dies. Your character doesn't just pop up, and hey, I'm okay now, without extraordinary means like resurrections or such. So I will try to keep it kind of that way. It's been a long time, like I said, since I've done an RPG, a computer RPG on the channel, and the channel has always been inclusive of all role-playing games, so all genres and all platforms. So I will get around to doing that as well. So once again, thanks for joining. It's Friday. I got to remind myself that it's Friday. So you all have a great weekend coming up, and I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon. And thank you for joining in, and have a great afternoon. Take care.